The office lobby smelled faintly of coffee and wet carpet as I walked in, my blazer clinging to me like a second skin. My hair stuck to my cheeks, droplets sliding down my neck. The receptionist's eyes darted to me with that same mixture of sympathy and judgment she gave every morning. "Aubrey, you're soaked again," Sarah whispered when I passed her desk, her brows knitting together. "Why don't you just drive?" Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation. Be honest? Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. I forced a smile, though my teeth chattered. If I had a car, maybe, I would. By the time I made it to my cubicle, my hands were trembling. My sneakers squeaked against the tiles, and the sound grated on my nerves. Still, I pushed through, pretending nothing was wrong. That's what I always did, pretend. 3 days later, we were gathered at my grandfather Walter's house for one of his family dinners. The long oak table stretched out like a battlefield, and I already knew who would come out bruised. My parents sat straight-backed, polished smiles fixed, while Brooke, my younger sister, scrolled through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. Walter's gaze lingered on me longer than usual as he set down his fork. "So, Aubrey," he said slowly, "how's the car running? Still treating you well?" My fork slipped from my hand, the clatter echoing like a gunshot. My stomach dropped. "What car?" The air froze. Brooke's fingers froze mid-scroll. Elaine's smile faltered. Gregory's jaw flexed, his throat bobbing as if swallowing back words. Walter leaned forward, his voice sharp. "The Toyota I bought you for graduation. Don't tell me it gave you trouble already." Heat rushed to my cheeks. My lips parted, but no sound came out. I looked at Brooke, then my parents, searching their faces for an answer. None came. Just silence thick enough to choke me. Finally, Gregory cleared his throat. "Aubrey, you don't really need a car. Brooke, she deserved it more. She's younger. She had places to go. You what?" Walter's voice boomed, cutting him off. His fist hit the table so hard the glasses rattled. "I bought that car for Aubrey. And you gave it to Brooke?" Elaine tried to laugh lightly, but her voice cracked. "Dad, don't exaggerate. Aubrey's always been strong, independent. Walking hasn't hurt her. Brooke needed it more. I shot to my feet, my chair scraping back. My voice shook, but it carried. Walking in freezing rain every morning. Walking past cars splashing. Mud on me. Walking while Brooke... I turned to her, my heart pounding. "While you drove right by me, music blasting, not even slowing down. Do you know how many times I saw you? And you just looked away." Brooke's lips parted, but no words came. Her face drained of color. Walter's face was red now, his eyes blazing with a fury I had never seen in him. He pointed at Gregory and Elaine, his voice trembling. "You stole from my granddaughter, my gift, my trust. You thought I wouldn't find out?" The room sat in stunned silence, every tick of the grandfather clock pounding in my ears. For the first time in years, I saw fear flicker across my parents' carefully composed faces, and for the first time in my life, I knew everything was about to change. The silence in Walter's dining room was so sharp it could have cut glass. No one dared move. My chest heaved, my fists clenched by my sides, and I could feel every pair of eyes drilling into me. Gregory finally broke the silence, his tone defensive, almost panicked. "Dad, you don't understand. Aubrey doesn't need..." Walter slammed his fist down again, his voice thundering. "Don't you dare finish that sentence. I bought that car with my money for Aubrey. I put her name on the papers. And you thought you could just hand it off to Brooke like she's your spoiled princess." Elaine's lips twisted, her voice icy. "Dad, Brooke's the younger one. She's got college, events, things to do. Aubrey can walk. She's fine. I felt my throat tighten, tears stinging the corners of my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. Not now. Fine? You call trudging through storms fine? You call showing up to work soaked every single day fine? You call being treated like I'm invisible fine? My voice cracked, raw with fury. I've been suffering for years, while Brooke flaunted what was supposed to be mine. Brooke shifted in her seat, her voice weak. I didn't know— Yes. You did! My words shot across the table like arrows. You saw me every morning. You passed me on the sidewalk, laughing, blasting music with your friends. And you knew I didn't have a car. You knew. Her eyes darted to Elaine, then back to me, but she stayed silent. Walter's face hardened like stone. He turned to Gregory, his voice low but venomous. You've disappointed me before, son. But this is theft. From your own daughter. From me. Gregory's face reddened, his composure slipping. Dad, don't make this dramatic. Aubrey is strong. She's always been the one who could endure. Brooke. She needed more support. The words twisted like knives in my chest. Endure? That's what you think I'm here for? To endure while you hand everything to Brooke? My voice dropped, quieter, more dangerous. Do you have any idea what that's done to me? Walter's hand shook as he pushed back from the table. This family has rotted from favoritism. You've turned one daughter into a servant, and the other into a parasite. Elaine gasped, Don't you dare speak about Brooke like that. But Walter ignored her. His sharp eyes landed on me. Aubrey, listen to me carefully. I will fix this tonight. You won't walk to work another day. My heart thundered in my chest. For once, someone was on my side. For once, I wasn't invisible. But Gregory wasn't finished. He leaned forward, voice low, condescending. Aubrey, don't play the victim here. You've always had enough. You've always managed. That's who you are. Your sister needed more. She's the one with a future that matters. Those words, they snapped something inside me. I stared at him, my hands trembling. A future that matters? What about me, Dad? Am I nothing to you? Elaine scoffed, rolling her eyes. Don't be dramatic, you're fine. You always make things bigger than they are. Walter's chair screeched against the wood floor as he stood. That's enough. I won't listen to this disrespect another second. He stormed from the table and disappeared down the hallway. Tension was unbearable, pressing down on me like a weight. Gregory and Elaine avoided my gaze, whispering furiously to each other. Brooke sat frozen, her phone forgotten in her lap. Minutes later, Walter returned. In his hand was a thick envelope. He tossed it onto the table, right in front of Gregory. There's the title. And the proof. The car was purchased under Aubrey's name. I have every receipt. You forged her signature to give it away. Gregory's face drained of color. Elaine reached for the envelope, but Walter's glare froze her hand mid-air. You thought I wouldn't keep records? Walter's voice cracked with fury. You thought you could manipulate me, deceive me, and get away with it? No. This ends now. I reached for the envelope with trembling fingers. My name, my full name, was printed clearly across the documents. Tears blurred my vision, but they weren't from weakness. They were from a surge of vindication I'd been denied for years. Walter's eyes softened as he looked at me. Aubrey, tomorrow morning, you'll have the car. I'll personally make sure of it. Elaine's voice rose, sharp and desperate. Dad, you can't just take it from Brooke. She's used to it. It'll ruin her life. Walter's response was cold, cutting. And what about Aubrey's life? Did it not matter while she dragged herself through rain, cold, and humiliation? Did her suffering mean nothing to you? Gregory finally snapped, his voice raw. Dad, stop treating her like some saint. Aubrey's strong. She doesn't need coddling. Brooke, enough, Walter roared. I won't let you pit them against each other any longer. You've shown me exactly who you are. The The room trembled with the weight of his words. My parents' faces paled, but I couldn't stop staring at that envelope. Proof. Vindication. After years of silence, I finally had it in my hands. And deep, down beneath the swirl of emotions, one thought began to take root. This wasn't just about a car anymore. This was about everything they'd stolen from me. Respect, trust, love. For the first time in my life, I realized I wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. I held the envelope tight, my knuckles white. My parents sat stiff, their faces masks of denial, while Brooke's eyes darted between us like she wanted to disappear. Walter's voice cut through the silence. Aubrey, you've been robbed of more than a car. You've been robbed of dignity. And I'm going to make this right. Elaine tried to soften her tone, her voice dripping with fake calm. Dad, you're overreacting. Aubrey's fine. She's independent. She's always managed. You make it sound worse than it is, I snapped, slamming my palm on the table. Worse than it is? You think watching your own daughter walk home drenched, freezing, exhausted, while handing her keys to her sister isn't bad enough? My voice trembled with fury. You think that's nothing. That's years of my life you decided didn't matter, Brooke whispered, almost too softly to hear. I didn't ask for it. They gave it to me. I turned on her, my chest heaving. And you didn't refuse it either, Brooke. You knew it was mine. You watched me suffer, and you stayed quiet. That makes you part of it. Her lips quivered, but she had no defense. Walter's glare never left Gregory. You forged her name, didn't you? Tell me the truth before I drag this to court. Gregory shifted uncomfortably, his hands trembling against the wood table. For once, the confident man I knew seemed small. I thought she'd understand. Aubrey doesn't need help like Brooke does. She's stronger. I laughed bitterly. Stronger? That's not love, that's punishment. You raised me to carry everyone else's burdens while Brooke got to live free. Walter leaned in, his voice low and dangerous. Gregory, you've treated your eldest like an afterthought. And now I see the truth. You never wanted fairness. You wanted convenience. Elaine shot to her feet. Enough. You're tearing this family apart over one car. Walter's voice boomed. No, Elaine. You tore it apart the moment you decided one daughter was worth more than the other. My chest felt tight, my pulse pounding in my ears. The years of walking alone, of being brushed aside, of silent dinners where I was invisible, it all crashed down on me. But this time, I didn't swallow it. I'm done being your shadow, I said, my voice steady now. I'm done watching Brooke be celebrated while I get scraps. This isn't just about the car. It's about how you've treated me my whole life. Like I was nothing. Walter's eyes softened as he turned to me. Not nothing, Aubrey. Never nothing. You've proven more strength than the rest of this table combined. And now it's time you finally have the life you deserve. He pulled another envelope from his jacket and slid it toward me. My heart skipped. Gregory's eyes widened. Dad, what is that? Walter's voice was calm, deliberate. Something I've been holding on to. A trust fund in Aubrey's name. I intended to wait. But tonight proves I can't. You can't be trusted with her future, Elaine gasped, clutching her chest. A trust fund? For her? What about Brooke? Walter's stare was ice. Brooke has already taken what isn't hers. My concern now is Aubrey. She will not walk in the rain another day. She will not beg for respect in her own home. My hands shook as I reached for the envelope, my name printed boldly across the front. The air felt electric, every second stretching into forever. For the first time, Gregory and Elaine looked powerless. For the first time, Brooke's smugness cracked into shame. And for the first time, I realized the balance of power in this family was shifting toward me. The envelope in my hands felt heavier than bricks. My fingers traced my name across the front, proof that, for once, something belonged to me. My parents' faces were pale, their eyes darting nervously between Walter and me. Brooke sat frozen, her jaw slack, like she'd just seen her world collapse. Walter's voice was steady, cold. "Aubrey, that trust fund is yours. I kept it quiet, waiting for the right time. But now I see. You've suffered enough under this roof of lies. I'll not allow it any longer." Gregory finally found his voice, though it cracked with desperation. "Dad, you can't do this. You can't just hand her everything. What about Brooke? She's the youngest. She still needs—" "Stop." Walter's voice sliced through the room like a blade. "Every time you say Brooke needs, what you mean is Aubrey can sacrifice. Enough. You've fed off her endurance long enough." Elaine stepped forward, her face twisted with indignation. "Walter, you don't understand. Aubrey's always been fine on her own. Brooke's fragile. She needs more support. You can't just take away everything we've built for her." I laughed bitterly, my eyes stinging with tears that burned instead of soothed. "Built for her? You built it by stripping me bare. You let me drown so she could swim." My voice rose, sharp and raw. "Every time I came home soaked to the bone, every time I dragged myself to work while Brooke cruised by with the music blasting, you let it happen. You watched me break down in silence, and you did nothing," Brooke whispered, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean to hurt you, Aubrey." I turned to her, my words cold. "You didn't stop either. You watched. That makes you guilty too." Walter's fist slammed onto the table, rattling the glasses. "This ends tonight. Aubrey, starting tomorrow, that car will be returned to you. And if Gregory and Elaine refuse, I'll call the police myself for forgery and theft. Do you hear me?" Gregory's face turned crimson, sweat beading on his forehead. "Dad, don't drag the law into this. We're family." "Family?" Walter's voice cracked with fury. "Family doesn't rob their own blood. Family doesn't leave one daughter to rot while the other is coddled. You lost the right to call it family the day you chose favoritism over fairness." The words cut deep, and I saw my father flinch. For the first time, he looked small, like a man caught with no excuses left. I opened the envelope. Inside were bank statements, trust documents, everything spelled out clearly. My chest tightened. Numbers I'd never imagined stared back at me. Walter had saved every penny, every investment for me. Not Brooke, not them. Me. Elaine gasped when she saw the papers. "Walter, you can't. Brooke she deserves nothing she hasn't earned," Walter snapped. "And Aubrey has earned everything 10 times over." The room shook with silence. I lifted my head, my voice steady but trembling with power. "I'm done being silent. You've called me strong my whole life, but all that meant was you wanted me to suffer without complaint. That ends now. I'm not your scapegoat anymore. I'm not your shadow. From this moment forward, I'm standing on my own, and you can watch from the sidelines." Gregory tried again, his tone pleading now. "Aubrey, you can't just turn your back on us. We're your parents." I met his eyes, my jaw set. "Parents? You gave that title away when you gave away my future. You don't get to play the victim now." Brooke's lip trembled, tears welling in her eyes. "Aubrey, please, don't hate me." I looked at her for a long moment. She had been pampered, shielded, handed everything on a silver platter while I scraped by. "I don't hate you, Brooke," I said quietly. "But I won't forgive you either. Not yet. Maybe not ever." Walter stepped closer, placing a firm hand on my shoulder. His voice softened only for me. "You're not alone anymore, Aubrey. I'll make sure they can't touch what's yours again." I nodded, clutching the papers, my chest heaving. For the first time, I wasn't invisible. I wasn't powerless. The rest of the night was a blur. My parents sat in silence, pale and shaken, while Walter laid out his terms with sharp clarity. The car was mine, the trust was mine, and any interference would be met with legal consequences. When I finally walked out of that house, the storm outside had eased into a drizzle. The streetlights reflected off the wet pavement, and for once, I didn't feel weighed down by the rain. I stood there, papers clutched to my chest, a new strength surging through me. My parents' house was behind me, and ahead lay something they could never take again: my dignity, my independence, my future. And I swore to myself, as the cool night air hit my face, that I'd never let them break me again. Not ever.